Best ever, Jalen Moore, breaking down the game, plus feature interviews with players and coaches, and all the information on the college basketball scene. KVNU Aggie Game Day is brought to you by Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat, LSS Insurance, Young Truck and Trailer, DD Auto and Salvage, My Mattress, Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning, Elements Restaurant, White Pine Funeral Home, Les Olson Company, Prodigy Brewing, Cache Valley Bank, Jarek's Fine Jewelry, Daryl's Appliance, HSA Depot, Advanced Fireplace and Stove, Alpine Home Medical, S.E. Needham Jewelers, Thermo Fisher, Primrose Home Care, and Golden Spike Electric. It's the KVNU Aggie Game Day pregame show.
Well, first off today, do not get me wrong. Making the NCAA tournament is a tremendous accomplishment. I mean, that means you played either 3 great games in your conference tournament to qualify automatically. Utah State's done that 10 times. Or you showed in your entire season that you deserve an at-large selection from the NCAA Basketball Committee. And this year is the 14th trip to the dance with an invitation for Utah State in some way. Congratulations to each of those Aggie teams, beating out 200 or 300 other schools for that honor that year. And each of the 24 NCAA USU teams stand on their own records and successes that they had. They were great teams. But now the harsh reality is that we, Utah State University, have made the field enough times lately to stop losing. It's 9 consecutive defeats into today, and you can also add in 9 straight NIT appearances as well to that. Just 2012 in that postseason CIT tournament have we won a postseason past conference tournament game since 2001. That was overtime over Ohio State in 2001 in this NCAA first round. And even then, we couldn't win that CIT title with 5 straight games at home. So as I say, and I think a lot of us feel, and even the basketball players probably feel, enough of this losing. But of course, it has to happen on the court. Our current USU legacy leading builder is Stephen Ashworth now.
Yeah, I think coming to Utah State, I've obviously seen the legacy that guys like Sam and Nimi and Justin have left for us. And now to be, in a way trying to do that ourselves as this team's trying to leave our own legacy and build off of what the players have built already is something that we take great pride in. And obviously it's a dream for any college basketball player to play in March Madness. That's the pinnacle of what college basketball is. But at the same time, we talk a lot about how we don't want to just get here and we don't want to just be here for a day or two. We want to go and we want to play meaningful games. And this obviously is a meaningful game, and that's what you want in March. And so I think to put that exclamation point on what we're trying to build is to come out and make a run in March Madness.
So, Stephen and the team, let's stop it all today against Missouri in Sacramento, California. It'll start at 11:40 on TNT, and our KVNU Aggie NCAA Game Day for what should have been our 4th year in the last 5 in the NCAA Basketball Championship. Remember in 2020 when we beat number 5 in the country, San Diego State, in that Mountain West final, the dance was canceled by COVID. I still think that was maybe our best team with a shot to win one of these games since that Stu Morrill team of 2001. We've had some other near misses. Marquette comes to mind off the top of my head. But we should also add as we get started today that Missouri has lost their last 6 times. They've been to the tournament 29, but they've lost their last 6. And for the second time, Kobe Brown's going to the tournament.
Yeah, like you said, we all made it here once. None of us made it out of the first round. So that's our biggest goal is to, survive and advance.
So here we go. Hi, everybody. Al Lewis with Jalen Moore, one of our all-time Aggie greats. And Jalen, am I being too harsh here? We need an NCAA victory at Utah State?
Yeah, we've got a lot of chances. We've had some good matchups, and like you said, we've lost some close ones and haven't won since 2001 in the tournament. So I think it's a good time. I think our team this year has a pretty good chance, obviously, but by the way that they shoot the ball, and they they have an inside threat. They got guys that can drive. We got guys that can be aggressive. We've defended pretty well. And like I said, when you have guys that shoot the 3 ball at a high percentage, a lot of times you're not out of the game. So if we get hot this game, I think we have a good chance. Obviously, we know Missouri coming from the SEC, they're going to be strong, they're going to be physical, they're going to be athletic, and they had a positive record in the SEC, and I think they ended up finishing the season ranked. So, we have our work cut out for us, but the way that we finished out the season, We were on a 5-6 game win streak, had our chances against San Diego State. But, you run into a team like Missouri who's going to be very similar in San Diego State. They're probably going to be a little bit better offensively because of how many points per game they score. But, like I said, the thing is our Mountain West Conference was pretty solid this year. And hopefully, it got us ready for a type of team like a Missouri.
Because, again, already I noticed a couple of commentators that are talking about the tournament immediately jumping on the Mountain West. Okay, show us, guys. You deserve to have 4 teams in. Nevada bombed last night. I mean, our Arizona State was on it. They shot the ball great from the start, and it was a blowout. But then New Mexico losing the NIT game last night to Utah Valley at home, that's caught some people attention. I mean, we were supposed to be the number 5 power conference this year behind the Big 12, the SEC, the Big 10, and the Big East in that order. So, again, can we beat out a team of one of those higher-seeded conferences? Rylan Jones was doing the press conference yesterday. He is a basketball junkie. What does he think?
These guys are obviously a really good team, but we've played a lot of really good teams throughout this season, and we're prepared for this team in Missouri for our preparation from the summer, from our preseason games, and then the brutal Mountain West Conference play where it's just a battle every night. These guys are prepared for it. And, we're going to give it everything we got.
Jalen, 2 years in a row, this conference has gotten 4 teams into the NCAA. They lost all 4 of their first games they played last year. It is kind of a telling deal for the basketball committee to maybe look at. If the Aggies, San Diego State, Boise State don't do it today, it may be a little different in the future for this conference.
Yeah, for sure. Teams looking at us and the committee's looking at us, hey, 4 or 5 bid potential conference. Like you said, UVU goes in and beats New Mexico. That's obviously not a good look. And we have Nevada getting beat yesterday in a playing game by a good amount. That's not a good look, So our 3 teams that are still in it between Boise State, San Diego State, and us, we got to go out there and make something happen. Regardless if it's a win or lose, you just want to have entertaining games. You want to be in the games. That's what people want to see in March. If you go out there and you're the Mountain West and you're playing some of these SEC teams in Big 12, Big 10, and you go get blown out, obviously that shows the committee that, these teams are playing at a higher level and we can't really hang with them. And obviously if you have a team like San Diego State, a 5 seed, they get beat by a team like College of Charleston. Like I said, that's also not a good look. Unfortunately, there's a lot of 12 teams that beat the 5 seed because that's just what happens in the tournament. But us 3 teams that are in the tournament, in these next 2 days, we got to put on a showing for the Mountain West Conference and show that we can compete with these teams.
And number 10s against number 7 down through the years. I think it's 58 and 89. The 10s have beaten the 7s, so it can happen in this tournament. But here it is again, the big schools. Should they dominate the tournament? Do they need to let some of the other teams in? Nick Honor is the point guard for Missouri today. He one time played in the Atlantic 10 Conference, which is recognized kind of like the Mountain West. Then he also was at Clemson at one time. What about this label of conferences being better or lesser than others?
We don't get caught up too much in, level when it comes to basketball. Like you said, we've all been here before at those levels. Me being in the Atlantic 10, him being in the Horizon. So we still have, even though we're at the high major level, we still have that mid-major chip on our shoulder because at the end of the day, we're still underrated and slept on around the country. So we don't really get caught up in that too much. Utah State's a good team. And it should be a really good game.
That's what Missouri's point guard there said. His teammate was next to him, used to play at Cleveland State in the press conference. That's why he said him. But as Jalen, you mentioned, they're 23rd in the country. They're 24-9. They only lost a number 1 seed in the entire tournament, Alabama, 72-61 in their last game on Saturday in Nashville. And they have 3 really good players, as you watch on TV today. Number 24, Kobe Brown, first-team all-conference in the SEC. Number 5 is Demoy Lodge, lately, again, an elite defender. He's number 3 in steals in the country. And number 4, DeAndre Golston, he has played very well lately. They have depth, though. They're going to play 9, and they're a better scoring team. I think you've already hit on one of the things. They're kind of like San Diego State, only maybe with more defense, although they might not be as stingy on more offense, but they might not be as stingy with their defense, but they try to steal the ball from you all the time.
Yeah, they do, and they do a good job of it. And like I said, when you run into these teams from like the SEC that have these athletes, they always want to try to play pressure, try to make you turn it over, try to get a lot of easy buckets. But like you said, Their defense is going to be there. Their offense is going to be there. Luckily for us, our defenses look pretty good, and our offense has been pretty good. You know, it slipped up against San Diego State, but that's kind of to be expected because of the way they play defense. But if our offense is there and we're on point, we shoot the ball at a high level, we make them have to guard us, we take care of the ball, you know, and then we turn around and we defend them. I think we have a good shot. You know, I like the matchup. I really do. I think this is a kind of a team that we have a chance to beat. We've seen similar teams to this in Nevada, San Diego State, New Mexico. Obviously, like you said, we've played against good competition. They've played a little bit better competition because of the SEC and how many ranked teams and playing Alabama. And they beat Tennessee twice. So they've played a lot of good teams, but we have too. And I think our team is good. I think we're a little bit underrated going into this tournament. And if you look at the ESPN app, they actually think that we might pull off the upset and beat them, you know. So I think we have a good chance if we do a lot of the little things that we always touch on. And obviously we got to shoot the ball with confidence and shoot at a high level.
Their first-year coach is Dennis Gates. He came over from Cleveland State. He already has a new contract through 2029.
All teams that's invited are really, really good teams. Great coaches. There's a tradition in it. There's a want to advance in it, and they're possession-by-possession games. So we just hope all of our conference games, all of our preseason scheduling has prepared us for the moment.
Again, that's what he hopes for his Missouri Tiger team. Kobe Brown, Cleveland State transfers. There's 6 on this team that have played in an NCAA game before. The Aggies have 3 who have actually played in an NCAA game before. Jalen, should experience be something that helps some of these Aggie guys going back again for another tournament experience to be able to play?
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's a totally different atmosphere. It's great. Obviously, like I said, I've never played in it, but, you know, from the likes of it, seeing it on TV, different atmosphere, a lot of upsets. Every team that's in the tournament at this point, all 64 teams that are left, they're good teams. You know, either they are at-large bids or they won their conference. So a lot of teams are potentially coming off wins. A lot of teams are ranked. A lot of teams have over 20 wins, you know. So you're not going to see a bad team regardless of the way that the rankings are set. And that's what makes the tournament so fun is if you're improving at the right time, you're going into March at a high level, you have a chance to win any game. And so, but I think experience is a big part of that. You know, you see a lot of these teams from those bigger conferences that do consistently go year after year. When they have juniors and seniors that have been there for their 4 or 5 years, you know, and they've been there every season, obviously they have experience. They know what it's like to play at that level. And so for us to have 3 guys that have that, those are the guys that, you know, have to kind of lead the team and be confident and show these guys, hey, we're going to make some mistakes. We're going to miss some shots, but we got to get it back on defense and we got to stay positive. And I think, like I said, I think if we do those things, we have a shot to win most games in this tournament, starting with the game in a few hours.
Bairstow and Dorius were on the team in 2021, did not get into the game against Texas Tech. Stephen Ashworth did. Max Shulga got in a little. And then, of course, Dan Akin played, again, a very major game. But first off, here's Stephen on will the experience help?
I think it definitely does. I mean, we have a guy on the team who's won in the tournament, in Dan Akin. And so they know what it's like. We've been to the tournament before, Sean, Max, myself. And so I think that experience definitely helps because we talk a lot as well about in this program that pressure is a privilege. And you know, playing in the tournament is pressure basketball, and that's what you want to be doing in March is playing basketball where it really matters. And so we have that goal to go out and get the first win in 30 or 50, whatever, however many years it's been, 20, yeah. No, I actually saw something. It was no. This was 50. 1970 was when we were in the Sweet 16.
Yeah. Actually, Elite 8 in 1970 with the Nate Williams and Marv Roberts team. Nate had a sprained ankle. Marv had 33 in the game, but still got blown out by UCLA when they were on their run at that time. But, Jalen, there's one thing today. Coach Ryan Odom, 5 years ago in the tournament, a number 16 beat a number 1. He was the magical coach then. Again, we're going to have him talk a little bit later on. Is he the magical coach today?
Each team that we're fortunate enough to coach has one life to live. And that particular team lived a great life. The joy that team experienced was unlike any other.
So can Coach Odom's magic of 5 years ago lead this basketball team today? Because that's one of the all-time great NCAA moments.
Yeah, it is. And who knows if we'll ever see something like that again. You know, they were the first team to ever do it. Coach Odom did a great job. Virginia was picked to win the whole thing that year. And they did a good job. He had his guys ready. And obviously, like we said, the playing experience does a lot. But if you have a coach, a confident coach, a confidence, in the coaching staff and guys that have been there and pulled off a major upset like that, obviously, that's going to fuel your players to go do that again. And now, like you said, it's a 7-10 game. Those upsets happen all the time. It's not like a 16-1 that hardly ever happens. 7-10, like I said, some of the experts have us winning the game, and I think that comes down to the way that we shoot the ball, the experience that some of our players have, and the experience that this coaching staff has, and Coach Odom especially in pulling off that upset. So I think that's a major key too, because he's been there, he's been in those high pressure situations, and I think this is another chance for him to pull off another upset.
All right, so Jalen and I begin matching up this game, Memphis and Utah State today, first versus the Tigers in 55 years. We played home and home against them in 1967 and 1968. Both of our teams won on their home floors. We did here. They did back there. Shaler Halleman years, incidentally, were those years. Plus, of course, on our game day coming up, as the Aggies, we're already in the Final Four. And we'll talk about that as we go along, as we continue. Now, Missouri's star is Kobe Brown. Sounds like, again, he kind of likes the fans in Columbia cheering on the team this year. They've really taken over again with bigger crowds, kind of like he feels like the Aggie players feel the same way.
They took our new team and Coach Gates with open arms. Surviving in this tournament would be so big for them. For us too. We've accomplished so much this season, and to see like the difference in Columbia right now is crazy.
That's where Columbia, again, the home of Missouri, of course, Logan. We've had the great Rockin' Spectrum this year, and Coach Odom will be one of the coaches we'll hear more from.
I know both teams are going to be fired up, to go at it. Two styles are similar but different, at the same time. So it's going to be a fun game.
So we're taking it down to 11:40 when it's on TV on TNT, and then we're back immediately after the game for the post game. You can call in, you can text us, be a part of our show today. SC Needham Jewelers, the state's oldest jewelry store where Utah gets engaged. The Riverwoods Conference Center. Hey, about I'm sure down at Elements today for lunch. That would be a great spot, and they'll probably have the game on, maybe down there as well for you. Cache Valley's largest and most versatile event center. They bring you game day. We're coming right back in a moment on KVNU.
Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat is locally owned and operated inside the beautiful new Three Peaks Medical Plaza in North Logan. Expect the most cutting-edge techniques, qualified doctors, and friendly staff to ensure the highest quality patient care. The ENT providers have extensive training to properly treat ear, nose, and throat conditions for adults and children. Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat serves all of northern Utah and southern Idaho, accepting most insurance products including SelectMed. Go to CacheValleyENT.com for appointments and details. Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat, located in North Logan and Providence.
This is Ryan at My Mattress. Life is good. Life at My Mattress is good too. Why might I say that? Because today is a good day to slay a Goliath. The other day I went into a mattress store here in Logan that has 2,500 stores across the country. I'd say that's a Goliath. We were 20% less expensive on every bed that we both offer. We may not have 2,500 stores, but we are number one in Cache Valley. Better product and better prices. Isn't it time to sleep exceptionally? Only at My Mattress.
Elements Restaurant has something new and exciting to share. If you like barbecue, you're going to love Thursday's Brews and Barbecue at Elements. Mouth-watering smoked brisket, perfectly seasoned and slow-cooked for hours. Your taste buds will say thank you. Try the brisket sandwich served with coleslaw or brisket plate complete with Southwest mac and cheese and coleslaw. Don't miss Brews and Barbecue for lunch or for dinner with live in-house music every Thursday at Elements Restaurant next to Spring Hill Suites on the south end of Logan, or call 750-5171 for reservations.
Hi, this is Tyler. Recently, my father passed away, and White Pine provided the funeral services for our family. They were friendly, thoughtful, and attentive to every detail. It isn't often that a loved one passes away, so it was very important to my family that everything be handled just right. Because my dad was loved by so many people, we had a lot of family and friends that traveled from out of town. I really appreciate how White Pine Funeral Services made sure everyone was comfortable and that the focus was where it needed to be, on my dad and my family. They really took care of us during this tender time.
It's KVNU Aggie Game Day, brought to you by Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning on News Talk KVNU.
We were fighting with them tooth and nail. We're as talented, we're as deep, just didn't fall our way this time. So I'm really excited for what our team has to offer. I'm excited for the future that we have this postseason. there's really no back down. We're here to fight.
You know who that is? Trevin Dorius, the Aggies starting center, going up against Missouri today. The Tigers and the Aggies coming up here at 11:40 from Sacramento, California. And again, he's acting there after losing, again, the 62-57 game to San Diego State. Did you hear what Coach Brian Dutcher said after the game?
First of all, congratulations to Utah State on an incredible run to get to the finals. They're primed and ready for the NCAA tournament. They're a very good team. We're very fortunate to win today.
That was what he had to say. And again, like we've talked about, the Mountain West had better have some stand-up situations today into this one because, again, Jalen, I was just wondering, do you pick a bracket? Do you do bracket stuff before the tournament? Did you go through and pick the winners?
Yeah, I definitely do.
Do you do more than one, or do you just stick with one?
I usually just do one, honestly.
Okay. I do one, too. Yeah, I don't think it's fair. You're really not being an expert if you take more than one and you win somewhere.
Right? I try to just do one and roll with that and see how it goes for sure.
How do you have who do you have as your champion this year?
I think Alabama's going to win. That's what I put Alabama. I think, I've seen them play. I saw them play in the SEC tournament. I think Brandon Miller's the best player in college basketball this year. He might not get player of the year. I think the big guy from Purdue, I think Zach Edey might get player of the year. But I think skill-wise, NBA talent-wise, I think Brandon Miller's the best player in college basketball this year. And Alabama has good pieces around him to make him be good. And I think they have a pretty good shot of getting to that championship game. And I have them against Houston. And I think Alabama's going to beat Houston in the championship.
Well, I feel a little better. My pick was Alabama over Texas in the championship game, was the way I picked it. Big Ten has 8 teams, SEC 8, Big 12 7, Big East had 5, ACC 5, and then the Mountain West and the Pac-12 had 4. And this, again, is, as Coach Odom reminds us, again, a situation, again, of Utah State, again, Mountain West against the SEC going into the game. But he understands where this game stands.
Well, anytime you win in the NCAA tournament, yeah, you're fortunate to advance in the NCAA tournament. I mean, it's just it's a special thing. It takes it a step higher. It's certainly something that these guys aspire to do. But it's hard because you're playing a really good team. Everybody's got a stellar opponent that they've got to face. But it does mean a lot. If you can get to that second game and then you can get past that second game and get to that second weekend, then it does a lot for the university. It certainly does a lot for the for the players. Most importantly, they're having a blast, doing it.
Odom, of course, put UMBC on the map with his win as a number 16 beating a number 1. Our Aggies in Sacramento today. The Golden One Center. They're 26-8. They tied for the 7th best record we've had. 3rd time in the last 5 years we've had at least 26 wins. We had a 7-game win streak stopped by San Diego State on Saturday. And Jalen, no matter what level of defense is against our team, I mean, San Diego State, you said, is exceptional, and it was 3rd game, 3 days, all that kind of stuff. But no matter what, we cannot today have Ashworth, Funk, Shulga, and Bairstow go 11 for 41 and 3 for 23 from 3, no matter what, today to win the game.
Yeah, exactly. Because like we said, I think you're going to see Missouri. They're going to play good defense. They're going to be quick. They're going to be strong. Like you said earlier, I don't think that they might not be as well in position and as stingy and all that kind of stuff as San Diego State. But on the flip side, I think they're going to be able to score the ball at a higher clip than San Diego State is. So we had our chances because of some of the shots. San Diego State doesn't have a lot of great shooting. They have better offense than they had in the past, but not like Missouri will have. Missouri's got multiple guys that score in double figures. They got guys that can shoot a little bit better percentages. So if we don't score, we don't shoot a high percentage, and we don't knock down some of our easy shots and easy open threes, it could end up being worse for us against Missouri than it was against San Diego State. We might not have as many chances as we get. So I think that's something to key on, like you just said. I think those 4 guys are kind of what makes our team go. And obviously, Akin from the bench, we're going to need that bench production and that energy from him that he gives us this game as well.
He scored the first points in the UMBC win over Virginia. He was at the opening tap for that game. Statistics, though, say we shouldn't have a bad shooting game again, so we should probably see a little better offense. We really have worked hard with our defense lately. Missouri, though, is an offensive machine. The analytics say it's pretty close. They're 29 in efficiency, 21st in scoring. The Aggies are 10th in efficiency, but 32nd in scoring. But the numbers, Jalen, show that close to offense for the Tigers, 43% of their shots are three. The Aggies are 43%. Defensive numbers and rebounding stats show Utah State at least has edge in the games they have played. But again, what is it about when we get into these matchups, playing a team like from the SEC or a little higher level of athlete? All these guys are 3-stars, if not 4-star recruits. What can neutralize that athleticism and the strength advantage that they would probably still have on this floor today, Missouri against Utah State? What can they do?
Yeah, we just have to be smart. I think that's what it comes down to a lot in basketball. You're going to play against some teams. And frankly, obviously, our team's not going to be the most athletic team, which is completely fine. We've done fine all season with that. We have enough athletes. But the thing that a lot of people don't realize is if you have smart players, guys that make the right play, guys that can shoot and they can score, which we have all that, you can beat a lot of these teams that have very good athletes. So I think that's a very good key, and that's why I think it's important that we take care of the ball. We got to get stops on defense. And, obviously they know, hey, we're pretty good athletes. We got a little bit of size on them. They're probably going to crash the offensive glass. So we got to make sure that we box out as well. We can't give them, second chance baskets, can't give them extra possessions. If we do those things and we're smart and all that kind of stuff, and honestly, like we always say, make them kind of play the game at our tempo. We don't want to necessarily get up and down with all these athletes. If we get the ball, we don't have numbers, we don't push it, make them have to guard us, make them have to guard our actions, make them have to run us off the three-point line and give us options on drives or some drive and kick threes. If we do those things, we play smart basketball. I think we're going to be in the game and give ourselves a chance to win.
I'm sure Missouri is to study the film like everybody else, and you can tell the defensive place that they try to go against us if they can match up Taylor Funk on somebody. And the matchup off the paper would indicate that Funk would have to take on Kobe Brown, and Taylor was asked about that yesterday.
No, he's a really good player. Watched a lot of film on him already, and he's a versatile guy. He has the ability to shoot the three, shooting over 40%, and he can put that thing on the ground and get to the rim. I think we're prepared for it. Like Jonesy was saying over here, Mountain West is it's not a cakewalk any night. It's a battle every single game, and there's a lot of good guards, a lot of big guards. A player like him in the league would maybe be Matt Bradley a little bit, just a bigger guard. Brown got a little height on him, but no, he can definitely score that thing, and our defense is going to have to be set for us to stop him.
Yeah, Brown's versatile. He might go inside, he might go outside at times. He's the only NCAA player who's hitting 55% for the field, 45% from three, and 80% at the foul line. Now, Stephen Ashworth, of course, has some kind of numbers like that for the Aggies as well. But this guy is really, really terrific for sure. And then after him, they've got a 6'4", 6'5", 5'10". They do start a big guy in Mohamed Daria. He is 6'10", but they bring Noah Carter off the bench a lot. He's 6'6", 235. They'll play a little smaller at times, things like that. They beat Tennessee twice, like you mentioned, Jalen. Kentucky, Iowa State, Illinois. They haven't had any bad losses to any opponents. They were beaten badly by Kansas. Alabama games were 85-64. That wasn't good down in Tuscaloosa, but 72-61 in the tournament. They are the fourth-place team in the SEC this year, and, of course, it's defense that are built on. So here's Stephen Ashworth on what that defense is.
They definitely have you can see just statistically that they turn their opponents over quite regularly, and they take pride in that, and I think that their defense is built on that, and that fuels their offense, that fuels their up-paced tempo that they like to play with. And so preparing for that, we know that we have to take care of the ball, and we have to make sure that we meet our passes and catch with two hands. A lot of the primary things that you learn growing up in basketball are going to be very applicable.
And so, Stephen, on the defense, you've talked about protecting the ball. What about pace of the game? I think it will be a faster pace for sure, which might be to our liking more than even the Boise State game and the San Diego State game we just recently played.
Yeah, I definitely think, like I said, I think they're going to play a little bit more up-tempo. San Diego State, they try to get up-tempo when they make you turn it over, but I think you run into a team like Missouri, that's the tempo they're going to play at. The SEC is a fast-paced conference. A lot of teams play that style, that up-tempo, try to make you turn it over. So I think, we got to make them kind of slow it down at times, make them play at our pace, make them have to guard us. If we do that, I think we'll be okay. If we kind of get into a track race with them, a sprint with them, and try to get up and down, that's what they want us to do. They want us to hurry and shoot quick shots. They want us to one pass, two passes, then hoist a three potentially, and we got to be smarter than that because we got to know that that's what they want us to do. So we got to make sure that we make them guard us and just stay confident that way. And like we said, you take care of the ball, then they can't necessarily get up and down the court as much too. So I think that's going to be very crucial.
And again, Jalen, we need an NCAA victory. As we said, the odd makers say it's a close one. It would start off 2.5 Aggies. I think it was 1 yesterday for Utah State. If it's a close game, Missouri is 8-0 in 5-point or less games this year. The Aggies are 4-5, which is better than last year. So your keys to the game: advanced fireplace and stove, the spot for your fireplace needs and your great stove needs. Again, 752-7272. What have you got for us today? Number 14?
Yeah, number one, and it's super crucial. We've touched on it the whole time. Our defense has to be on point. They're second in the SEC in scoring, and they average 80 points per game. So we got to do a job. That's a lot of points per game. They got a lot of guys that can hurt us. Like you said, they've probably been watching a lot of film. They're probably going to try to single out some guys. Don't be surprised if Ashworth gets on some of these bigger guards, if they try to post them up, stuff like that. So, I think our defense has been good, and I think it's got to go from our starting five all the way through Idle Rock, who's going to play on the bench. Our defense has to be on point. Number two, we got to take care of the ball. The last 10 games, they're averaging 10 steals per game. That's 10 extra possessions for them, and we can't give them those extra possessions on letting them get steals or letting them get offensive rebounds. So I think that's going to be very crucial. We got to take care of the ball. 10 steals per game is a lot for them. So that tells you that they're going to be aggressive offensively. They're going to shoot some passing lanes. So we got to make sure that we watch for that. And number three, we have to be aggressive on the rebounds. Over the last 10 games, they're averaging actually only 26 rebounds per game. We're averaging 33 rebounds per game in our last 10. So, you go by the stats, we're averaging 7 more rebounds per game. So as much as they want to crash the O boards and do all that kind of stuff against us, we have to have some guys. We got to get Trevin in there. We got to get Sean. We got to get Dan. We got to get some of our bigger guards. We got to hurt them on the glass. We're supposed to technically beat them by 7 on the boards over our last 10. So if we're aggressive on the rebounding and we beat them on the rebounds, we do those two other things, I think this potentially could be our game this morning, and we go on to the next round.
They get 20.5 points a game off of turnovers. That's a really high number. And they are, as you said, -7 on the rebound margin. The little better offensive rebounding team, the defensive rebounding team. The Aggies are +4. So those are some of those numbers. Well, Jalen, we'll get back with you after the game. Hopefully we're talking about an Aggie victory, okay?
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you.
All righty. Jalen Moore there. So coming up, lots more again about Missouri Tigers, Utah State Aggies, 11:40 on TNT. Coach Odom, 5th anniversary again of UMBC, number 16 beating number 1. We'll talk about that. But you know what? He and his family are headed to the Final Four no matter what.
Going through what he's going through, he doesn't feel courageous. It was a very mature decision on his part, to accept it, because there are other kids that are going through similar things, that he's going through. And if he can impact one, that's a really positive thing that he's given, to the universe and to someone. And he's already done that.
Coach will talk about his son, Connor Odom, getting that Courage Award at the Final Four coming up a little bit later here on game day. Right now, let's see, West Virginia 28, Maryland 27, first half with 2:35 to go. Virginia leads Furman 17-7 with about 10 minutes to play first half. The next game that really starts is the Aggie game coming up here at about 11:40. Our game day is brought to you by My Mattress, ranked number 1, better sleep in the Valley. Again, that's where you can get IntelliBed, Tempur-Pedic, and the other great mattresses you're looking for, again, a good night's sleep. And also by Alpine Home Medical. What sets them apart, their superior level of quality service they have over on 14th North. All of your one-stop shop for home medical equipment and service providers, 774-4500. And Daryl's Appliance, again, fridges and freezers and washers and dryers and ranges and dishwashers, all on Airport Road. The best brand names, best prices, Daryl's Appliance. They bring you game day. We're coming right back on KVNU.
As our world changes, we're with you. News Talk KVNU Logan, 102 FM, 610 AM, the voice of Northern Utah.
Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning is a 2-time gold medalist in the Best of Northern Utah in the AC HVAC category. They thank you for your support and vote of confidence in their company. They also would appreciate your vote this year in the 2023 Best of Northern Utah competition. To find a quick link to vote for them, go to advancedheating-ac.com. That's advancedheating-ac.com.
We're not comfortable until you are. Advanced Heating and Air.
Believe it or not, spring is coming. This is Jay with Daryl's Appliance. We want to offer you a spring deal on washers and dryers. Buy a new washer and get $25 off the dryer. Or choose a scratch and dent dryer to save more money and get $75 off. Don't forget, Daryl's offers an exclusive 2-year warranty on all scratch and dent appliances. Why pay full price when you can save at Daryl's Appliance, west on Airport Road?
See Daryl's Appliance in beautiful downtown Benson.
Les Olson IT structured cabling is second to none. Tired of old and inefficient cabling? Have an upgrade or remodel planned? Building a new network from the ground up? We offer the very best in low voltage cabling installation, including data, phone, fiber optic, and more. Ask us how to get your free consultation today.
Les Olson IT.
It's never too late or too cold to get rid of that old vehicle. Now is the time to earn extra cash by calling DD Auto and Salvage. Let them pay you for that junk vehicle. DD Auto and Salvage makes it so easy and fast to get rid of your junker vehicles by paying you the most money possible. Pickup is available. If you have metal, DD Auto and Salvage in Logan wants to pay you today. Call 787-1204.
That's 787-1204 today.
See store for details.
Alpine Home Medical has been around for over 25 years. Can you believe that? Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent. What keeps us coming to work every day? We're passionate about caring for you. From home and bathroom safety to transportation, mobility, recovery, oxygen, sleep, and more, come into any of our 10 locations today and let us take care of you.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Visit us at alpinehomemedical.com.
Aggie Game Day continues. Sponsored by Cache Valley Bank on News Talk KVNU.
I believe that all of us growing up playing AAU, we all play 8 a.m. games, so that's kind of been our warm-up. But this whole week, Gates and the staff have been doing a good job of getting us up early and getting our heart rate going early so we could be ready.
Trago Million, who is a guy who is a little bit questionable with his health, but he was at the press conference yesterday and asked, okay, playing a game at 10:40 in the morning, San Francisco, and all of that. Have you done that early in the day before? And like we've talked about before, overnight, playing 2 or 3 games a day. Sometimes these guys have done that AAU stuff, so maybe it's not that big a deal. Adrenaline going big time in the tournament today because, again, it's the Aggies and Tigers playing in the first game in Sacramento, again, in this regional where Utah State knows, again, even Sean Bairstow's been around long enough to know the Aggies haven't won an NCAA game when they've had chances, and here we go.
We, in past years, we've come to the tournament and haven't really done what we all set out to do and, winning games. So for us, it starts with that, and then we'll go from there. So I think winning a game and getting into a good start in the tournament would be a really good thing to add to Utah State and our legacy.
Yep, picked 8th in the Mountain West preseason. 2 best scorers gone from last year's NIT team that went 18 and 16. Players and coaches, I think, thought they'd be good, but all the rest of us wondered a bit. But Utah State goes off 9-0 at the start of the year. Guess what? Missouri did the same thing. Rivals stopped our streaks. They lost their border war game with Kansas. We lost to Weber State, shocking us. But down the stretch in our respective conferences, both of these teams today were strong. Missouri had won 5 in a row before they lost that semifinal to Alabama in the SEC. They've won 10 of their last 13, like the Aggies, to finish the year. And the Aggies, we mentioned the 7-game streak going into Saturday evening in Las Vegas against San Diego State. And then, of course, the Aggies lost the game. Meantime, that's one thing, though, that Coach Odom said after the game against the Aztecs the other night.
Our guys have been really good after a loss. So they understand how to refocus. They understand how to fix things that got us down a bad path. And so they're going to be jazzed to play, in the next game.
That was, again, him talking Saturday night, and now here we go into that next game. We continue to see some other interesting similarities between these two teams. Offense is what they're known for, shooting for USU. Missouri with a lot of turnovers to get their fast-paced offensive attack going. Aggies, if they handle it and could shoot it well today, I think that is just huge in this game because then there's got the matchup of physicality and athleticism, which Jalen and I just talked about is tough. But we know this Aggie basketball squad that we've seen this year does not back off from many circumstances.
One of the characteristics that we've always wanted to establish is the fact that we're never going to give in, we're never going to give up, and we're going to stand fearless in any opposition that we face. And I think that as you look throughout some of the games that we've already played this season, there's been a lot of adversity come our way, and we've been able to answer the bell just about every time.
Up about 3 times against San Diego State. It looks like they, again, were maybe out of it. They came up short every time, but they had the run in the first half of that first game against the Aztecs. They came back, made it a 6-point game down the stretch. They came back in Logan and almost won, missed a shot there at the end of a chance. They flipped things around against Boise State after losing big first time around, put the screws on them and beat them in the tournament. Nevada, the comeback that they had. It's interesting stuff. Now, in similarities, this Missouri team had a new coach, a whole new system. Kobe Brown was kind of their guy, and he went into the portal after they decided to change coaches there at Missouri. And this Coach Gates, again, has been hired, Dennis Gates, from Cleveland State. And he brought in 4 of his Cleveland State transfers to be with him. But again, there were there's 4 other transfers to Division I, a junior college guy, Kobe Brown, but they all took him in.
I think it's important to also add the entire roster. Transition isn't easy for anyone. You have teammates, you have brothers in your program, guys that are in the portal, guys that are not in the portal, guys that are on the lines of entering or not. But you have a group of guys that are welcoming you into their space. I was invited into their space.
And maybe in some ways, I'm sure Ryan Odom felt the first year with the Aggies that they kind of brought him in. And remember what Justin Bean said after I couldn't have had a better coach to come in and take over my situation my last year playing here than Ryan Odom. And he thought Ryan would do great stuff for the future. And look what's happened now. As Missouri and the Aggies play today in Sacramento, you always say good teams, of course, have award-winning players. And obviously, we should let you know that Kobe Brown of the Tigers is a first-team All-SEC team. He got honorable mention All-American honors with their 4th-place finish. He was All-District from the coaches and from the Writers Association on Tuesday, and he is an academic All-American as well. Now, our Stephen Ashworth, Player of the Year in the District 8 from the U.S. Basketball Writers the other day. That was announced by the writers, and they represent Idaho, New Mexico, Colorado, Wyoming, Nevada, Montana, and Utah. He's the Player of the Year, the basketball writers in that area said. Taylor Funk also made that team as well. Let's talk first about Stephen Ashworth with Coach Ryan Odom.
He is a true student athlete, and he's a dynamite player. He's a guy that works at his game, is always trying to figure out how he can tweak it and improve it. He's not the tallest guy, he's not the strongest guy, and he never will be on the basketball court, but he's got the biggest heart. And he sets the tone for our team.
No doubt about that for Stephen Ashworth. And Stephen, again, was all Mountain West first-team selection by the coaches, second team by the media. And then we mentioned Taylor Funk, who got onto this basketball writers team for the district. Can you imagine his situation here? He, after all of his years playing back at St. Joe's, never had a chance to go to the NCAA tournament. And today?
No, it definitely feels great. A lot of hard work from the start to now, all summer, just grinding. A lot of tough days, a lot of battles, a lot of days just kind of don't feel like going, but you just push through for this moment. Being a graduate transfer, this is my last chance, and, beyond blessed to be here with these guys and beyond excited.
As he continued to talk in the press meeting yesterday, emotional as how he talked about how this team just responded, and he added to what Utah State had to make this team what it is.
Just kind of felt like we built friendships and relationships that were going to last a lifetime in 5 minutes. It's kind of hard to describe that and really make you guys realize how much of an impact these guys made on me. But it's from the players to the staff, It's just a big family here, and it's kind of what you want in a team because you spend a lot of time together, and you don't want to be around people you don't like. And this team really gave me what I was looking for, and really thank the coaching staff and the team for welcoming me with open arms.
How about that? You know what the coach has done for this team, too? I know the coaching staff's a big part of it. They're all intact from UMBC. As we mentioned 5 years ago today, they won that game 16 against number 1. But I thought it was neat. Yesterday, Coach Ryan Odom, again, made this comment, again, as he let Rylan Jones, who hasn't played, the last 16, 17 games for the Aggies because of his injury this year, let him go to the microphone to speak yesterday in the press conference. The coach said,
Rylan Jones, I wanted him to have this moment right here. Even though he's not playing, I wanted him to experience what, being in the NCAA tournament's all about. Nobody wants us to win, more than him. Like, this kid is a true Aggie. His father coached at Utah State. He grew up in that gym, watching all the former Aggies play, and making it to the NCAA tournament. For him, to still be a part of this team, an active, part of this team, a leader of this team, is huge.
His coach's description there of Rylan Jones reminds me, really, Jalen Moore, kind of in a similar situation, our analyst that we have on the first part of our game day shows. So what is Rylan doing right now in his situation, not being able to play?
Not on the court anymore, but, my role as a captain, not always been on the court. We always talk about we have 15 leaders instead of just like, the 4 or 5. And, that's just where I've been on the sideline. It's just, keeping everybody up, helping people with what I see on the court, whether that's talking to them at a timeout, halftime, or just when they come out of the game, keeping the guys as well on the bench who aren't as playing engaged, talking to them, and just being around and just, not like mope around on the sidelines that I'm not playing, just giving energy whenever I can. And, just experiencing this once in a lifetime moment that we're experiencing as a team. I'm just enjoying the ride and, I trust these guys and they got my back and they're going to take us as far as we're going to go. And, I'm looking forward to it.
And we're hoping he'll get back to the Aggie team next year. He didn't want to have senior night this year, so that's good in the future to maybe get Rylan back. And then Coach was smiling as Rylan talked about that. And then Coach also went on to say in his portion of the press conference about some of the other guys getting this chance.
What also makes me smile is a guy like RJ Alderock, who has stepped in, kind of for him. RJ came with us from UMBC. During his time there, we didn't make it to the dance. We were close. And one of the reasons that he came out here with us is because he wanted a good shot at it. To see him smile the other day when our name was called, that's everything for me. And to have Dan Akin here as well, who was with us at UMBC. He's the last remaining player from that game, that played in that Virginia game, jumped center that night. For him to be able to experience this with us again, is going to be really rewarding. And Taylor Funk, it's one of the reasons that he came, to Utah State. He wanted to be, in this moment. We're here, because he chose to come, because Dan chose to come, and the guys chose to stay, once the transition happened. We've been very fortunate in that we haven't had a lot of turnover.
I think you can hear now why Coach Odom is a finalist for the Skip Prosser, again, Man of the Year award. Skip Prosser for his coaching, but also for the man he was. And now the writers of basketball writers, give this annual award to a coach who they really think exemplifies what Skip Prosser was all about. And Ryan Odom is one of those finalists for this job, for sure. You can even tell, even though he wasn't at the press conference and they weren't looking at each other, that Coach Dennis Gates, when he came in from Missouri, has looked at enough tape and heard enough about Ryan Odom to say,
Coach Odom has done a great job even before he got to Utah State. And obviously his DNA of his dad speaks for itself. He grew up in the gym. And his IQ is very high when it comes down to building a program and building a team. He's done a good job. He's done a good job at Utah State, and he was a perfect and is a perfect fit for Utah State and what's needed successfully.
And Coach Gates knows a little bit about Utah State. We'll get into that a little bit later on in our coaches segment. And again, we are going to now talk about 16 over number 1 and more about his son, Connor Odom, in the next segment with Ryan Odom.
Will a 16 ever beat a 1 again? I have no idea. It takes a special group. It takes a lot of luck.
And we'll come back and talk about that as game day continues on KVNU. DD Auto and Salvage. Remember, they'll clean it up as you get the snow going down, clean up your yard, get that metal out, get those old junk vehicles. They'll pay you top dollar, 787-1204. Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat. From runny nose and itchy eyes to seasonal allergies to careful control of serious food and drug allergies. It's all about what Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat can do for you. And Young Truck and Trailer Center, 2900 South, Highway 89. The best deals on those trailers and flatbed work trucks you're looking for as game day continues on KVNU before the 11:40 game, TNT Television, Aggies and Missouri in the tournament. When it comes to home care, it's important to know you have a choice. If you or a loved one is in need of hospice or home health services, remember that Primrose Home Care and Hospice believes in treating the patient as well as the problem. We work directly with you and your doctor to create a health plan that's catered to your needs. Our team is devoted to providing options in the freedom and safety of your own home. Visit us at primrosecare.com or call to schedule a free consultation. Primrose Home Care and Hospice, your local hospice and home health provider since 2006.
Prodigy Brewing invites you to enjoy the luck of the Irish all through March with a menu as tasty as a pot of gold. Enjoy Prodigy's new lunch options, including personal-sized pizzas, juicy burgers, chicken sliders, and delicious salads, along with bar menu favorites like wings and beer cheese nachos that'll leave you feeling lucky as a four-leaf clover. Experience Prodigy Brewing, family-friendly dining with an edge. Make sure to follow them on Instagram for special beer releases, St. Paddy's Day weekend specials, live music, and more. Prodigy Brewing on Center Street in downtown Logan.
Power outages can affect our lives, from minor inconveniences to health and safety concerns. Golden Spike Electric and Generac generators are here to help. Get a free 10-year extended warranty when your Generac is installed by Golden Spike Electric. That's right, Golden Spike Electric and Generac generators offers a free 10-year extended warranty with all orders placed by April 16th. That's a savings of over $1,000. Call today to schedule your free in-home assessment online at gsegenerators.com. Golden Spike Electric and Generac automatic standby generators. Power you can count on.
This year, celebrate your anniversary with diamond jewelry from S.E. Needham Jewelers. Adorned in diamonds, she will feel elegant and cherished. Choose from a large selection of diamond bands, diamond pendants, and diamond earrings. Also, you'll enjoy a beautiful selection of diamonds mounted in rose gold. We price our diamond jewelry with an integrity price guarantee so that you can be assured the best possible value, with 12 months interest-free financing available. For the people and occasions that matter most, S.E. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block, at the sign of the clock.
KVNU Game Day returns.
Obviously, playing in March Madness and playing in the tournament is a dream for every college basketball player. And you'd be lying to yourselves if you weren't thinking about it just about every game you go out and play.
Stephen Ashworth of the Aggies. The Aggies are playing the 22nd ever game they played against the Southeastern Conference team. The last two times they played Southeastern Conference, they beat them. They beat LSU and beat Florida. Craig Smith was here. Last time, they've only played the SEC once in the tournament. That was a 3-point Rod Tueller team that lost to Vanderbilt in the tournament in 1998. And it's, 3 of the last 4 they've actually won against the SEC, because Jalen Moore's teams actually won one and lost one to Mississippi State in those years. So we haven't played the Southeastern Conference a lot, but we get a chance today. And again, it's Missouri from that league, and they, again, have kind of the monkey on their back, kind of like the Aggies do as well, of not winning in this tournament the last couple of times they've got there. Nick Honor, their point guards, heard that.
I would say we all were blessed with the opportunity to play here. We all haven't won a game here yet. But, at the end of the day, it's just basketball. So we're excited for the opportunity at hand. We're just going to take it one game at a time and, hopefully accomplish that at the end.
Again, I think he played at Clemson, and then we've got these other guys who played at Cleveland State and some other places that they have been at that are on this Wisconsin team. Utah State will be in the Final Four in Houston in Texas for sure. Junior walk-on guard Connor Odom will receive the Perry Wallace Most Courageous Award, along with the St. Louis basketball player Terrence Hargrove. The basketball writers have presented this award every year now since 1978. Perry Wallace was the first SEC black athlete to finish 4 years of conference play in that conference. Connor has dealt with anxiety, obsessive-compulsive disorder, along with having Lyme disease. He lost a year of his high school basketball years. He has had trouble just leaving home. He'd be in the shower for a long time. He has now spoken publicly on social media sites about his dealings with this. They did an E60 ESPN special on him, and now many college and high school athletes have been reaching out, and he's sharing tough feelings, tough times that he's had with them. And you can tell Coach Odom is a really proud papa.
We're really proud of him. The award mostly goes to him, but it partly goes to his mother, because she's the one that put up is not the right word, but helped him through and guided him and loved him through all the hard moments, that have gotten him to this point. And he didn't have to accept this award. Nobody would ever know, if he decided not to accept it. because you know how it is. Oh, you're courageous? Yeah. Well, I mean, when you're going through what he's going through, he doesn't feel courageous. It was a very mature decision on his part, to accept it, because there are other kids that are going through similar things, that he's going through. And if he can impact one, that's a really positive thing that he's given, to the universe and to someone. And he's already done that, between me and you. They did an E60 on him, when he was at his sickest or right after he kind of overcame it. And I can't tell you how many emails and whatever articles have been written over the course of his childhood, and how many emails my wife has responded to, during this journey that he's been on. And the other thing I would say is he's got a group of teammates and brothers that really look after him and care for him as well, and understand that every day is not perfect, and there's certain days where it's not gonna be your day, right? And how do you respond and come back that next time? For him, it's very brave of him to do what he's doing, and also the young man from St. Louis. He'll develop a friendship with that kid, because of this. They didn't know each other, but they've already reached out together on social media. And, I think that's a cool thing. But it's humbling for him, but also I think there's part, responsibility, that he feels.
Again, he's talking about his son, Connor Odom, walk-on to our Aggie basketball team. He's also been at Maryland, I think it was, as a walk-on player. Maybe it was Virginia. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. But his brother, Owen, wife, Lucia, I mean, the Odoms have to be so proud of what he has done at this point. And again, the other big thing today about Coach Odom, it's 5 years ago that his UMBC team won, and so he had to talk. He was asked about that yesterday at the press conference when they beat Virginia in 2018 tournament.
That game was special, though. That game was special. The game before that, was even more special, to be honest with you, because, we had to win our conference championship, in order to even make it to the NCAA tournament. Vermont, on their home court, was a special thing, a moment that I'll remember, forever with that group of people, special memories. Each team that we're fortunate enough to coach has one life to live. And that particular team lived a great life. The joy that team experienced was unlike any other. It's just fun to be a part of this. Like, this is what all coaches and players want. They want to be a part of March Madness and the upset. And, certainly we were fortunate to do that. Will a 16 ever beat a 1 again? I have no idea. It takes a special group. It takes a lot of luck, in order to have, a chance to win any game, in the NCAA tournament. I mean, one thing's for sure. If you're fortunate enough to make it to the NCAA tournament, you're going to play a great team, a team worthy, of being in this tournament. That team that we were fortunate enough to coach at UMBC certainly was worthy of being in the tournament, and it certainly is a memory that'll last a lifetime, for sure.
Coach Odom knows his team is worthy this year. Does this team of 2023 Aggies in the tournament have any feel of 2018 at UMBC?
Yeah, this team's confident, like that team. That team was very confident, and they felt like they could play with anybody, regardless of what anybody said. They didn't really go around listening to what others said. They just tried to, do their best in each and every game. This team right here is created. That's the similarity. I told them, I said, you've already, regardless of what happens tonight, you've already created all these cool memories that you'll have for the rest of your life, and funny stuff that's happened, and winning. And when you do both of those things, like, everybody feels good. And there's only one team from here that's going to feel awesome, right? Because it's going to end for everybody. But it doesn't mean because you don't win the whole thing that you didn't, live an amazing season, life with that particular team.
And coming up, we'll get the coaches really kind of breaking down this game, a little bit more thoughts about each side. Jarek's Fine Jewelry, one of our good sponsors. Always make it special. Make it Jarek's. Prodigy Brewing on Center Street. They got the game on, I'm sure, on their TVs down there for lunch today on Center Street. And Primrose Home Care and Hospice, locally owned since 2006. People have a choice. Choose Primrose for your home care needs in your family's tough situations with loved ones at home. And this is Game Day continuing on KVNU.
Advanced Fireplace and Stove is honored to be a 2-time gold medalist in the Best of Northern Utah for the fireplace install retrofit category. They work hard to take care of their clients and ask for your vote this year in the 2023 Best of Northern Utah competition. To find a quick link to vote for them, go to advancedfireplaceandstove.com. That's advancedfireplaceandstove.com.
We're not comfortable until you are. Advanced Heating and Air.
As a small business, achieving your financial goals and ambitions can be a steep and rocky mountain to climb. This is Brett Green, president of Cache Valley Bank. To conquer this mountain and achieve your goals, it takes planning, hard work, and discipline. At Cache Valley Bank, we have the resources, expertise, and flexibility to help you scale your way to success. Give us a call. Let's work together and climb the mountains that await. Cache Valley Bank, member FDIC.
Hi, this is Rusty Allen with LSS Insurance. Not sure where to go for help with Social Security and Medicare? Come to LSS the third Thursday, March 16th at 7 p.m. Having a local agent makes all the difference. Someone who's here for you today as well as in the future. Call LSS at 752-9493. Come see us March 16th at 7 p.m. for a clear presentation on Social Security and Medicare. Call 752-9493 to RSVP. Walk-ins welcome.
Girls, insist he take you to Jarek's. Picking out your wedding ring is an experience you will never forget. Come to a place where the mood is right and the setting is perfect for romance. Jarek's Fine Jewelry in Logan, the perfect collection of memorable designs, classic creation, and modern marvels. If you want an intimate, romantic experience you will never forget, then insist he takes you to Jarek's Fine Jewelry. Make it special, make it Jarek's at 930 North Main in Logan.
Jarek's Fine Jewelry. Make it special, make it Jarek's.
The clock is ticking, and Aggie basketball is getting closer. It's KVNU Game Day.
They have an offensive type of system like Alabama. You know, they want to space the floor with shooters. Want you to gamble, overhelp, get fast in transition. So it's nothing we haven't seen before. It's a little bit of what we do, so we'll be prepared.
Comparing the Aggies to Alabama is what Nick Honor did, the guard at Missouri yesterday. Meantime, Rylan Jones, again, who knows basketball about as well as anybody I've ever known. Again, he compares the Mountain West teams that maybe we've seen defensively that can be like Missouri's tough defense.
They're very similar to UNLV in New Mexico. Just like he said, their guards create a lot of turnovers, which lead to their transition buckets where they're very lethal. And we got to keep them out of, the transition offense area. And taking care of the ball will do that.
All right, let's get into our coaches segment brought to you by Golden Spike Electric on KVNU Game Day. Again, game will be on TNT television at 11:40. At the half, incidentally, it was Maryland 32, West Virginia 30, and Virginia lead Furman 32-27 at the half. Those are the two games. This will be the third game of 16 starting today, and the Aggies will be on TNT at 11:30. We'll be here right after the game to talk about it, take your calls, your texts, your questions about the Aggie game. But power you can count on from Golden Spike Electric. These are two coaches. Again, Coach Gates, this is Dennis Gates' first year at Missouri after being at Cleveland State. Coach Ryan Odom, of course, in his second year here at Utah State. And again, Coach Odom can see that Coach Gates has immediately brought something new to Missouri that they needed.
Coach Gates and his staff have done an amazing job in a short amount of time, right, in year one. To be able to be where they're at right now, that's not easy to do. All right? It takes a special group, to do that.
And meantime, we've already heard Coach Gates with his admiration of Coach Odom. Meantime, though, how about Coach Gates? He knows the Utah State program because he was once David Carter's assistant at the University of Nevada after he played his college days at California, where I think Coach Carter was a coach as well.
Great tradition. The great Stu Morrell was the head coach at that time. Some great players. And what I do know is a great fan base, great culture. And it speaks for where they are today. Coach Odom has done a great job, but also you have to look at what this program has done in the last 5 years, and it's been postseason play. They've earned the right to play at this level, but also their tradition speaks for where they are.
What's interesting is how Coach Gates has tried to take back the Missouri tradition. He's become a very good friend with Norm Stewart. In his later years of life, he was the great coach. The floor is named for him back there. He's the one who got them as far as the Elite Eight, which is as far as I think Missouri's ever got. But even, remember Jazz coach Quinn Snyder? He was a coach at Missouri at one time.
Quinn has been a great resource for me. I've had several conversations with him. Even in that transition of him being out of coaching and then getting back in the NBA with the Atlanta Hawks, he's set aside time to reach out, and I thank him for that. But ultimately, even Mike Anderson, even Frank Haith, even Kim Anderson, even Konzo Martin, those guys have been tremendous resources for me along the way, and I'm thankful that they've allowed a relationship to form. We're all in a profession that has transition written all over it. And you don't have always a script. And I'm thankful that the script of me calling them and thanking them and partnering with them, so to speak, and saying, simply, thanks for allowing me to walk on the same sidelines as you once did. To be a great coach, you got to be absent from your home. You got to sacrifice things. And those guys definitely have sacrificed a lot for Mizzou and the tradition that they've built. So I'm thankful to have those relationships.
Tigers were number 4 in the SEC this year, 23rd in the poll that came out this week. They're the 7th seed, Aggies 10th seed. So no doubt about it, a challenge for Coach Odom's team in the game today.
They really challenge you in a lot of different areas. Obviously, the defensive intensity that they play with and the ability to turn you over is always concerning when you're playing a team like that, because they can turn, your bad offense into baskets. Like that. And then they challenge you with, help defense. They drive to the basket. They're really efficient from 2, but they're also really efficient from 3. And so that's why they're one of the better offensive teams in the country. And so they're hard to stop.
Mike, we've talked about these two teams great on offense. Coach Gates, thoughts on the Aggies and, again, some personnel and things?
I think they have some individual players that make the plays that need to be made. And you can go across the board. They have 5 players in double digits. That's not an easy stat line to consistently have throughout the year, and they've been able to demonstrate that. They've had different players earn, whether it's a 6th man of the year or first team all conference. They're a team that has had camaraderie when it comes down to returning and retention from an NIT team last season. So you have those dynamics in place, but also they come from a great conference. I've been on this West Coast in the Pac-10. I've been in the WAC. I've been at Nevada. I've seen different versions of the Mountain West teams come and go, but also I've seen teams make the transition into the Mountain West, and they're one that have made a tremendous stride once they got the invite to be in that conference to consistently be successful in the sport of basketball specifically.
And there's a lot of mutual admiration, again, over on the other side for Coach Odom knowing about Missouri. But you know what? The coach did say at the end of the press conference yesterday, no doubt about my guys.
I love their team. Absolutely love their team. I love the way they play. They're fearless. They play loose. They play confident. They have, big-time individual players. Obviously, Brown is a tremendous player, but our guys, they've done this all year. They've just focused on what's right in front of them, and they've been present, and in the moment. We've certainly encouraged them to do that, and I have no doubt that they'll do that in this particular game.
So the coach, Ryan Odom, again, feels like his team's ready to go into this matchup again against Missouri. As we've talked about, the Aggies haven't won a tournament game since 2001 in the NCAA. They'd like to change that. Missouri's got a losing streak. They want to change that as well. These two teams, again, I think look at each other. This is the highest seed for Missouri since 2012 in the tournament. They've been 29 times to the NCAA. They've been to the Elite Eight, again, a couple times. The Aggies once time to the Elite Eight, and again have qualified now for the tournament really for the last 5 years. Again, they lead the Mountain West in that department. UNLV at 19 would be second. Lost to Texas Tech the last time they were there. They were 11, and Texas Tech was a 6 in that game that we saw back in the bubble in Indiana the last time the tournament was held there. Here's a couple of interesting stats for you from Cache Valley Bank. Stephen Ashworth right now, again, going into this game. He has 109 three-pointers. J.C. Carroll's record for a year is 114. The team has set a record for making threes this year. They shot very poorly against San Diego State. Got to shoot, as we said, Jalen and I, to shoot the basketball well in this game for sure. And Coach Odom, again, is one of 6 coaches that's gone to the NCAA within his first 2 years at Utah State. The others were Craig Smith and Rod Tula, Dell Anderson, Dutch Belknap, and Stu Morrill. But he's one of 3 that's taken to the postseason each of his first 2 years at Utah State, and that would go along with Liddell and with Coach Smith as well. So Utah State, Missouri, TNT Television. Immediately when the game's over, John Russell and I will be here to take your calls, your texts. We'd like to talk about it. We'd love to have you join with us. And we say go Aggies and have an enjoyable day. Again, this is the 3rd of 16 NCAA games. Aggies involved again against the Missouri Tigers coming up on TNT Television. Next, we'll see you right after the game on KVNU with Postgame Aggie Game Day.